Alright, good morning, students. So today we're looking at Broken Pots by Uwem Udoko. For Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. We are studying the text based on content and form. We are studying the text based on content and form. When we study a text based on content and form, it yields all the possible meanings that could be gleaned from that text. So, in studying Uwem Udoko's Broken Pots, we'll begin by looking at the life of the author. Uwem Udoko studied political science and public administration in the University of Uyo. He is a scriptwriter, he's a poet, and a dramatist, or a playwright. One of his plays is The Retrial of Ken Saro-Wiwa. The one that we want to study today is Broken Pots. The play Broken Pots was longlisted for the Nigeria Prize for Drama in 2010. The play Broken Pots was longlisted for the Nigeria Prize for Drama in 2010. Let's look at the background to the play. So we can read Uwem Udoko's Broken Pots as a political drama. You can read Broken Pots as a political drama. It's a play that deals with power play. The play is a tragedy. A tragedy is a play that is solemn in tone and mood, solemn in tone, sad in mood, and ends unhappily. So this play fits the description of a tragedy. Apart from that, I've said that the play can be studied as a political drama. Political drama deals with power and its intrigues. Political drama deals with power and its intrigues. Specifically, the play dramatizes succession politics in African society. The play dramatizes power play and succession politics in African societies, in Nigerian societies, in Ibibio or in Akwa Ibom society, if you like. The play also fits into the framework of sibling rivalry in politics. The play also fits into the framework of sibling rivalry in politics. Situation whereby two brothers or sisters or family members struggle over power. It is the same theme that is depicted in Oba Regomba's Great. Same theme as depicted in Oba Regomba's play entitled Great, where two brothers struggle for power. As a tragedy, Broken Pots has the epic breath of William Shakespeare's Macbeth. It's a tragedy. Broken Pots has the epic breath of William Shakespeare's Macbeth. And also has some textual similarities to Macbeth as a play. Also has some textual semblances to Shakespeare's Macbeth. So you take note of that. So these are the background issues that could be raised about the play. It's a tragedy, it's a political drama, deals with power, intrigues in Africa, especially in pre-colonial and post-colonial Africa. The play talks about ethnic politics in contemporary Nigeria, where people form political alliances based on where they come from. And they oppose people based on the fact that they don't come from where they come from. They are not from that ethnic group. So, among other background issues that we raised. Let's talk about the characters in the play, the cast. This play has a large cast. This play has a large cast. It has a large cast. While some of them are persons. Some of the characters are persons. Others are characters. A good number of the characters are type. Or stereotypical characters. So let us look at the list of characters or cast in the play. We have Uswaima. Swaima is the prince of Obietiat kingdom. So we have Swaima, prince of Obietiat kingdom. We have Ekong, prince of Obietiat kingdom. We have Etetem, wise man from Obietiat. We have Afia, prince of Obietiat. Afia, prince of Obietiat. So you can see from the name that this is a Ibom indigenous literature from the name of the characters. Then we have apparition. We have apparition. We have apparition. Apparition is like ghost. We have orator. These are the type characters. We have orator. From the name, you know what the person can do. Chief guard. Obietiat palace guard. These are the type characters. We have Udoko, one of the citizens in the land. We have hunters. We have old maids. She nurses the princess, the two princes, and invites them, and advises them now that they are old or they are grown. We have lady. Lady is the woman that is supposed to marry. So she's a princess in Obiedom. We have laborers. We have laborers. We have laborers. We have palace servants. We have palace servants. Market women. Elders, group of children, all these are 12 characters. We have manners. We have chief priests of Obiedom. We have ghost of Udom, ghost of King Udom. Udom is of Obiedom. We have ghost of Ukwat, King Ukwat. Ukwat is of Obiedom. Then we have Abasiama, the goat rearer. Then we have the pallbearers at the funeral, at the end of the play. We have dancers. We have boys. These are all type characters. And we have figures. So So that's why I said that we have many type characters compared to dramatis persona that are individual human beings. Let's look at the synopsis of the play. The synopsis of the play. So this play, Broken Pots, depicts the consequences of ethnic politics and sibling rivalry in contemporary Nigerian and African politics. Or if you like, in Akwa Ibom politics. Because the play is also Akwa Ibom Indigenous literature. Broken Pots depicts the consequences of ethnic politics and sibling rivalry in Nigerian politics, in African politics. So the play revolves around two characters, Prince Ekong and Prince Uswaima. They are brothers, or you might call them step-brothers. They are brothers, you might call them step-brothers. But they are struggling for power in the play. The struggle for power begins when King Udom passes away. That's the king of Obiatia kingdom passes away. When the king of Obiatia kingdom dies, the throne is vacant. And Uswaima, who is considered to be the elder brother to Ekong, thinks that he is the one to be the next king. Uswaima, who is the elder brother to Ekong, thinks that he is going to be the next king. However, it is soon revealed that Uswaima is not the true son of King Udom. It's soon revealed that Uswaima is not the true son of King Udom. It is revealed that his mother brought him from Obiaidom when the king there, King Akwa, died, and came to marry, become the queen to King Udom in Obiaidom. Now King Udom took him in and fostered him. Udom took Uswaima in and fostered him, made him his son, though it's not his blood. And then the same queen gives birth to Ekong, but Ekong is actually King Udom's blood. So that is why Uswaima cannot be king, even though he is the son of King Udom. He cannot be king because it's not of the king's blood. He is actually, his true father is King Ufuat of Obio. So father is King Fuat of Idom. So the queen came to marry King Udom and brought Swaima as a child to the palace. So when this revelation is made, inwardly, Swaima is not happy. Swaima is not happy because he now has to go to Idom to fight for his throne. His throne is in Idom and not in Obiatia. In Obiatia, Akwa is going to be king. So, but the problem is that King Udom died a long time ago, and the queen, having left with the only son that the king had, there was no one to take over the throne. There was no one to take over the throne. And so Akwa, who is Ufuat's brother, had to take over the throne. So Akwa right now is the one ruling at Idom. And so if Swaima is going to be to take over the throne, then he has to fight Akwa. He has to make Akwa step down and give him the throne. And in our contemporary politics, people hold tight to the throne, whether it rightly belongs to them or not. Because power is sweet, right? That is sweet. Another thing we need to note is that Obiatia kingdom and Idom kingdom have always been at war with each other. Obiatia kingdom and Idom kingdom have always been at war with each other. They are perennial and perpetual enemies. Okay? The history together is a history of war, hatred, bloodshed, and so on and so forth. And so, that is the conflict in the play, when the play opens. Now, Swaima has a conversation with Prince Akwa. Prince Akwa is depicted as a reasonable prince. And he has an agreement with Swaima that he should wait until the tombstone ceremony is done. So that it can help him recover his throne from affair at Idom. But Swaima is anxious and impatient, and he feels that he cannot wait until the tombstone ceremony is done, because he feels the longer he waits, the more difficult it will be for him to take over his throne at Idom. And that's why he secretly leaves Obiatia and visits Idom on his own without informing Akwa or anybody at Obiatia. When he gets there, He's loved by most of the people because they don't really like Afia. Afia is not a good king. But Afia sees Usoima as a threat. And he does not want him to become king. So he tricks Usoima and turns him against Ogeita. He tells him that you cannot be king yet until you help us destroy Ogeita from within. A place where you grew up in, a place that raised you, a place that fed you. Someone that you never met is now asking you to go back and destroy the place so that you can come back and be king. Tells him that the people expect him to help them destroy Ogeita at first. Then they will now give him the throne. So, when Usoima returns to Ogeita, we see that he has leaked the secret, the security secret of Ogeita to the warriors of Ibom, because they are able to invade the place easily and cause widespread destruction and sabotage and killings. So you see that the enemy is always from within. Very difficult on the outside enemy to hurt you because they don't know the secret, right? Yeah. That's what literature teaches us. Now the problem is Akwa has information. Akwa has intelligence that this is exactly what Usoima is doing, but he fails to take action on time. Which is part of the things that we'll analyze when we get to talk about the tragic flaw of heroes. Heroes are people who are blessed with power, with bravery, with courage. But because they are tragic heroes, they normally have a flaw. A tragic flaw. Akwa allows brotherly love to blind him to the wiles and the tricks and the wickedness of Usoima until when it is too late. Because the next time Afia meets Usoima in Ibom, he asked him to help him kill Akwa, his brother, so that they can completely destroy Ogeita and take over the place. And it's Usoima that gives Afia information that he needs to have access to the palace when all the guards are not around. The guards have left to fight those Ibom warriors. So Afia goes to the palace and tricks Akwa to leave the palace to a place where he will be ambushed by Usoima. They have already planned out to kill him. The plan is Afia will go to the palace and tell Akwa that Usoima has been captured in the bush, somewhere in the bush, and that he should come and help rescue him. That's the idea. Because immediately you hear that your brother has been captured, you lose all sense of security, all sense of reasoning. All you want to do is to go and help. And that's exactly what Akwa does. It doesn't even smell that there is a trick somewhere. That there is a trap somewhere set for him. Immediately Afia tells him that Oswema has been captured, is about to be killed. He just leaves like that, no guard, no security, just carries his sword and leave. To rescue my brother, I'm going to rescue my brother. But it is the brother that will kill him. Because it was a setup, it was a plan, it was a trap. And so he gingerly walks into the trap. Smoothly. Right? Because when he gets to that spot, when he gets to that spot, when they come get to that spot, it is a swimmer that comes from behind to kill him with the sword. So that's why the theme of betrayal in politics is very rife in our society. Because all of us are brothers. Okay? All of us are brothers. But the way we play politics does not show that we are brothers. Okay? It's like saying there's no brother in politics. When you get to politics, you can do anything to anyone, whether from your village or not. There are instances where people take out gun and shoot another person from the same village. All because of what? Power. And so this play is actually telling us what is possible in our society. Right? So it's not fiction only. The play is a depiction of our political realities. There was a time in this state that a politician would leave the church and then he's shot, assassinated on the church premises. And sometimes even in the church. How is that possible? There is another worshipper in that church that gives information. He is here. But all of us are saying, I surrender to Christ. Amen. Bless us, Jesus. Then the person who text is here. Worshippers. Brothers and sisters in the Lord. And those enemies will come from outside and shoot down Akwa. Merely after they shared the grace, we say, brothers and sisters, let us share the grace. Right? Brothers and sisters. But when it comes to power, human mind is very slippery. You might not know what the other person is thinking. So betrayal is right in politics. Joshua kills his brother for power. So the question is, to what extent are people prepared to go in order to achieve power? How far can they go? Are people willing to go in order to gain power? Literature has revealed that they can do anything. Including selling their souls to the devil. Including killing their brothers and sisters. In order to attain power. So after killing Akwa, Uwem thinks that the kingship will fall on his lap, as promised by Akwa, but as promised by Afia. But Afia was only using him. Because Afia hates Obi Itia and wants Obi Itia destroyed. But he could not destroy Getia because he doesn't have any security information about Getia. So he has to use someone, Getia, to do the destruction. Remember the enmity that exists between the two kingdoms. The two kingdoms. And so after getting Akon out of the way, he now begins to blackmail Uswaima using the same act that he asked him to do. So you killed your brother. Anyone that kills his brother cannot become king in Obieidom. Because that is a sacrilege. You are not supposed to do that. But Uswaima said, well, you were the one who said I should do it. And he said, so if I ask you to put your hand in the fire, you will go and put your hand there. Are you mad? I mean, someone will ask you to kill your brother and you kill your brother. Are you insane? Couldn't you have said no? And he tells him, this is the worst thing you could ever have done. You can never be king again. In Obieidom. People like you can't become king. And now begins to use that action to blackmail him, shouting to people that this is Uswaima, he killed his brother. And then they now begin to fight. Out of frustration, Uswaima begins to fight with him. Now when you fight based on anger and frustration, you don't have tactics. You're just fighting based on emotion. That's how Akwa is going to kill. That's all. Akwa is not ordinary, man. Akwa is not an ordinary man. Akwa is someone that can disappear and appear. The Uswaima does not have that kind of power. Okay? He didn't even fortify himself. For instance, when you read the play, you will see how Akwa gets to meet Uswaima in the bush. It just materializes behind him. But Uswaima does not have that kind of power. So who is he? Right? You want to go into politics, you have not fortified yourself. Just look at you like one toy like that. Okay? They'll be seeing you like one toy. So don't mind, that one is not the need time to deal with. Okay? Because physically and spiritually, you are not anywhere. They can't find you anywhere on the radar. And that's exactly what happens to Uswaima, just a naive human being. Okay? So Akwa kills him. Akwa kills him. And that is the tragedy in the play, that two brothers have destroyed themselves because of power, and have rendered their kingdoms and its future completely destroyed. And this is the story of African politics. This is the story of Nigerian politics. This is the story of Akwa politics. Tragedy of brothers fighting and destroying themselves for the benefit of the outsider. Akon tries to run away from the scene of the murders. Akwa tries to run away from the scene of the murder. Akwa tries to run away. And in running away, he falls into a pit. Falls into a pit in what can be described as poetic justice. Poetic justice. Poetic justice. Falls into a pit and impels himself with his own sword. He impels himself with his own sword. Nobody kill him, and him kill himself. Nobody kill him, and him kill himself. Right? As he impels, that's how you fall, and then the sword gets in the way, and you die by your own sword. So Akwa dies by his own sword, because who lifts the sword, who died by the sword. On the principles of war. And so, That is the climax of the play. All the key actors are there by their own mistakes or machinations. Then the two kingdoms fight one another in a full-blown war. Warriors get it. But whatever death could not measure up with the death of the three princes. Whatever deaths will be recorded, because many deaths are recorded on the two sides, on both sides. But cannot be compared to the lives of the three princes that are wasted because of hatred, innate hatred, because of struggle for power. What we call inordinate ambition. It's the same thing that's wrestling in Shakespeare's novel. Right? Inordinate ambition. Okay? So the play raises the question, at what point should an individual take action to seize power? Or should the person wait for everything to fall on his lap? Should the individual take action or wait for fate and time to bring power to him? Because of one of the philosophical questions in the play. How much action should an individual take in order to bring power closer to him? Or should the individual wait for situations to sort out themselves and for fate and time to bring power? You can think about that. But the death of Afia, the death of Ikong, the death of Oswaima bring the two kingdoms to their knees. They're like, what are we fighting when we have lost our first thing? Because the war always west the first thing. The two kingdoms are thrown into mourning. Two kingdoms are thrown into mourning. And they are united by their own greed. They are only brought together by their own greed. They learn their own lessons. That if we continue to fight like this, we might kill ourselves and no one remain in these two kingdoms. But possibly, if we live in peace, as desired by our forebears, because we don't and we fought, desire that the two kingdoms should live in peace. And if Uswema had waited until Ekong became king, would have helped him to become king at Edom, then the two princes would have lived in peace, because it would have been brother here and brother there. Even though the people had enmity, maybe they would have been able to make them become friends. But Uswema couldn't wait. And that's why the tragedy happened. Jealousy, envy, ambition, naivety, procrastination, and so on and so forth, are the mistakes that the characters make that bring about tragedy in the play. So at the burial, the orator speaks of peace. Of course, the people are already weakened by the war, by the death. So the author says that they should live in peace, and we hope that the death of the princes will make everyone to live in peace afterwards. And that's how the play ends. The play ends with the burial of the princes and the other deaths, and the commitment by the two kingdoms not to fight again, because they know that war itself is a monster. War brings destruction to society. Society that wants to develop must have peace within its borders. Let's look at the subject matter of the play. That was just synopsis. I'll give you the main action in the play. Subject matter. The subject matter of Uwem Udoko's Broken Pots is the consequence of inordinate ambition and desperation for power. The consequence of inordinate ambition and desperation for power. The play also has as the subject matter sibling rivalry in politics. The play also has as subject matter sibling rivalry in politics and its consequences. The play also talks about politics and ethnic hatred. It also talks about politics and ethnic hatred. And its consequences. So, these issues are reflected in the character and actions of Uswaima, because he is unsure of his kingship. He takes desperate and miscalculated decisions and actions. He's even easily deceived by his enemy to destroy his brother and himself. Let's look at structure and organization of the play. Broken Pots is organized in 3 acts. Broken Pots has 3 acts. Broken Pots is organized in 3 acts. Act 1 has 8 scenes. Act 1 has 8 scenes. Act 2 has 13 scenes. Act 3 has 4 scenes. Next is the plot of the play. The plot of the play is in medias res. In medias res. That is in the middle of things. The plot of the play is in medias res. It is in the middle of things. Meaning that the play has a non-chronological plot structure, specifically called in medias res. As the action happens in the middle. When the play opens, King Ufot and King Udom are dead, and the struggle for power for the 2 kingdoms has begun. So Uswaima feels that because he is the eldest son of King Udom, he is qualified to rule Adobe-Itia until it is revealed to him that he is not the king's true son. He's just a foster son. And then he starts feeling jealous towards his brother inside. start keeping secrets, start sneaking out of the kingdom, until out of desperation he's passed over by his enemy, and then used as a tool to destroy himself and his brother and the kingdom and all the tragedies that come afterwards. Let's look at the setting. This play has a pre-colonial setting. It has a pre-colonial setting. That means it depicts life in Africa before the coming of the colonial masters. It depicts life in Africa before the coming of the colonial masters. That depicts life in Africa before the coming of the colonial masters, because we don't see any form of modernity in the play. African society exists untainted by foreign influences in the play. So that's why we say that's pre-colonial setting. The play is set at Obietial and Ibom. These are Ibibio words, so we can say that the play is set in pre-colonial Akwa or pre-colonial Ibibio land. The play is set in pre-colonial Akwa or pre-colonial Ibibio land. Pre-colonial Akwa or pre-colonial Ibibio land. Symbolically, the play is set in contemporary Nigeria, where ethnic politics, struggle for power, and sibling rivalry is right, all right. So even though the play has a pre-colonial setting, the issues that the play raises speak to the nature of contemporary African and Nigerian African politics. Characters and characterization in the play. Let's look at the major characters in Broken Pot by Uwem Udoko. The major characters are Prince Ekong, Prince Uswaima, and Prince Zafia. The minor characters are Itetem, Lady, Dobong, Basiama, Old Maid, Orator, Laborer, and the other type characters. Prince Ekong is the tragic hero of the play. His tragic flaw is naivety. Tragic flaw is naivety. His tragic flaw is naivety. And procrastination. He's naive because he doesn't seem to realize the secret plans, the evil plans of Uswaima for the kingdom. Even when reports are given to him, security reports are given to him about Uswaima's activities he turned a blind eye instead of taking action. It was that first day that they reported to him that it was shortly after Usoima came back from Ibom that the place was invaded. Abiacha was invaded by the warriors. That's when he would have arrested Usoima. But he did not take action, so he delayed in taking action. He was naive. He allowed brotherly love to blind him from his princely duties of securing the kingdom. And so that leads to the destruction of Obieta and his death as well. Prince Usoima. So we can see Prince Ekong as one of the tragic heroes of this book. It's a tragic hero. Prince Usoima, we can describe Usoima as an antagonist of this play. Antagonist of this play is a subtle antagonist because of his actions towards Prince Ekong and the people of Obieta. He is the enemy within. He is the enemy within. Usoima is the enemy within. The theme of betrayal reflects well in his character. He's a traitor. He bites the fingers that fed him. If he's a hero, then his tragic flaw is inordinate ambition. If he is a hero, then his tragic flaw is what? Inordinate ambition, just like Macbeth in William Shakespeare's play that goes by the same name. He lacks discernment. So Usoima lacks discernment as a hero. Discernment is seeing beyond the surface. Seeing beyond what someone is trying to tell you. Trying to look at the true state of things. He lacks discernment. Especially of Afia's intentions. He's someone that's always been your enemy. And you now trust him over your own brother that you grew up with. So he allows his desperation for power to lead him to do evil. And we have characters like this in our society today. They will do anything for power, some for money, some for wealth, and some for fame. They can kill, even their own blood. Prince Afia is the king at Ibom when the play opens. He is the brother of the former king who fought of Ibom. Since there was no heir to the throne, because Usoima was in Obieta, and the two kingdoms were not friends. So the mother did not allow him to go back, and other reasons. Afia had to take over the throne. Afia is a villain. Afia is a villain in the play. The villain is the bad guy, right? The villain is the bad guy. That is the evil character in the play. Akwa is the villain. describes the villain in the play as evil character. His nature is completely evil. He's a trickster. He's very slippery. He's a very dangerous man. He's a very dangerous man. Very tricky, deceptive, and slippery. He's the full-blown antagonist in the play. He antagonizes Obietia. He antagonizes Obietia, including Prince Ekong and Prince Osweima. He hates Prince Osweima, but he presents himself to him as his friend and brother, calling him cousin. But that just adds what show. In what? He wants to destroy all of them. And because Osweima does not have spirit of descendant, he falls into a trap. Then what remains will be the minor characters like the orator. The orator is so called because he knows how to speak. And his role is seen at the funeral of the princess, where he charges the people to embrace peace and eschew war. Because war does not bring development, it's actually peace that brings about development in a given society. So you get it. Yeah. Then we have the Tetum. The Tetum is the wise man from Obietia. He offers advice to the princess. He's also someone who hears from the supernatural forces. Yeah. The gods speak to him. He has visions and dreams and interpret them, and then he could now advise the princess. Then we have Abasiama and Udobong, who are commoners, and they are common because their characterization is common because they are the ones who witness the murder and report to the community. The mother of the princess report to the community. Then we have Lady. Lady is the princess of Ibom. She's supposed to marry Osweima, and so she's waiting for him to come to get her when he's ready, but it seems she's waiting for Godot. So when she waits for a long time and Osweima does not come, she wants to leave the palace because she knows what Afia is trying to do. Afia wants to stop Osweima from becoming king. But just as she wants to leave the palace to start her own power moves, right? Afia sends guards to block her, and she's never to leave the palace. And that's why she fails to serve Osweima. But if she has gone out, she would have won Osweima what Afia is capable of doing. Okay? So another mistake of Osweima is not finding his princess at the right time. Delaying to go and find his princess at the right time. It was cost him his life and the kingdom. Not the kingdom. Okay? So we have homemade, nursed Usoima and Ekong when they were children, when they were young. And now that they are adults, she advises them based on her knowledge and age. The other characters are third characters, like apparition. Apparition represents the supernatural force in the play. Apparition and ghost represent the forces of the supernatural in the play. So when they appear, we should take note of that. And they also remind us of how the play resembles William Shakespeare's Macbeth. We have hunters. These are the stock characters or the third characters. We have laborers and townsmen and women. We have royal guards. We have market women, elders, a group of children, mourners, pallbearers, and dancers. Let's look at the themes of this play. The themes of this play. We have the theme of inordinate ambition, seen in Usoima's character. We have the theme of dictatorship, seen in Afia's character and actions. We have the theme of power play, seen in the actions of Usoima and Afia. We have the theme of sibling rivalry in politics, seen in the characters of Prince Ekong and Prince Usoima and what they do. In fact, it also includes Afia because Afia is related to Usoima. We have the theme of deception and betrayal in politics. Deception and betrayal in politics. We have the theme of deception and betrayal in politics. We have the theme of kingship tussle. We have the theme of succession. That means who comes to the throne after maybe the king has died or there is vacancy, who comes to the throne. We have the theme of the faith and the supernatural versus human action. Faith and the supernatural versus human action. That's where I ask the question, should the individual wait until events sort themselves out and power is given to him? Or should the individual act to take power? At what point should the individual act to take power? Or should the individual allow God, faith and the supernatural to bring power to him or her? So, we have that conflict, the conflict between faith and the supernatural and human action in the play. So we have abuse of power. Afia abuses his power in the play. Afia is a dictator and he abuses power in the play. We have politically motivated murders. Theme of politically motivated murders in the play. When people are killed in order for someone to take control or have power, that's politically motivated assassination or murder. These themes resonate with the politics that we play today in Nigeria, in Africa. That there are too many gunshots in our politics. We have too many gunshots in our politics. Right? Too many bombs in our politics. We have poetic justice as a theme in this play. Poetic justice is seen in what happens to Akwa in the play. It is quick. You can say it quick. Because he kills, immediately after he kills Uwem and tries to run away, he falls into the pit and kills himself by his own sword. And then we have war and peace as theme in the play, ethnic hatred and its consequences as themes in the play. Let's look at language and style. Language and style. The play is written in grand style because it talks about kings and heroes and princes. It's a political drama that uses the grand style. That means elevated language, especially when the princes are speaking and when the oracle is speaking. The play is written in contemporary English, and the average reader can understand its language. The play makes use of the language of poetry. Uwem Udoko's Broken Pots makes use of the language of poetry. So the language of the play is poetry. We can call it verse drama, except that it does not have rhyme and meter. The language does not have rhyme and meter. The play also makes use of Akwa Ibom oral tradition, which is what makes it Akwa Ibom indigenous literature. The play also makes use of Akwa Ibom oral tradition. That means a body of knowledge of the Akwa Ibom people and culture. The play also makes use of nature tradition. That means we can draw lessons from nature. We can use nature to infer or speak about our realities. You read the play, you see that. Okay? We can use what happens in the domain of nature to talk about our realities, to learn lessons. The oracle on the orator, they speak in riddles, they speak in proverbs, they speak in innuendos, they speak in metaphors. And that's why the language is rich in oral tradition. Among the dramatic devices we have in this play are irony. Among the dramatic devices we have in this play are irony, then you have historification, achaism. I've seen an instance of achaism in the play. Historification, achaism, literary allusion, foreshadowing, rhetorical question, symbolism, omen, simile, metaphor, personification, among others. So let us talk about ironies in the play. The fact that Prince Uwem kills his brother is ironic because brothers are supposed to love one another, live in peace, defend each other, and so on and so forth. So that's ironic. It's ironic that kingdoms that are neighbors that are supposed to live in peace and protect one another or each other are fighting. Okay? Just like this ethnic group will be fighting with this ethnic group. Alright? You have verbal irony. Verbal irony is seen when Afia refers to whatever happened between him and Uswaima in the past and the kingdom. When it says that all that is nothing now. Given what he did later, it means that that statement is ironic. So that's verbal irony. When Afia dies by his own sword, he says, "They have killed me." I'm like, who killed you? So that's double irony. You killed yourself. You brought all this upon yourself. Now you're trying to blame someone else. It's not true. Then we have dramatic irony. Dramatic irony is seen when old maid advises Waima to help Obitia restore security to the land, without knowing that it's actually the problem of the security in the land. Right? When old maid tells Waima to help them restore security in the land, without knowing that it's actually the one that brings insecurity to the land. Right? Then situational irony is captured when Afia dies by his own sword, which he wants to use to kill others. That's situational irony. Then we have historification. Historification in drama is when a play is set in a distant time in history, but it refers to contemporary occurrences. Alright? Playwrights use historification all the time to avoid problems with the authorities. They will say that this thing happened long time ago. Alright? When the tortoise was yet to have legs. Understand? But actually they are talking about things that are happening at the moment in the site. That's historification. The reviling drama, whereby contemporary events are meant to look like they have happened in the past. Right? That's historification. So when you read the play, you see that it is set in the pre-colonial times, but the events that they depict actually depict contemporary political realities in Nigeria, in Africa, in an Akwa Ibom state. Right. Occasionally, the use of old words. Alright? So we see that in the line when apparition tells Saima, the name ye bear is not thine. So that makes us recall Ghost in William Shakespeare's Macbeth. The name ye bear is not thine. That means ancient of days are speaking to Saima, right? That's why they're using language of the ancient of days, which is quite suitable, isn't it? So, and the apparition asks him to sit and possess it, just like the witches in Macbeth entice Macbeth to power by calling him Hell, Thane of Cawdor, and all of that. Macbeth soon to be king. Right? You know, this supernatural forces can hype you to go and kill yourself. They just hype you. They're like motivational speakers. Okay? Or you receive one pet prophecy somewhere that you're going to be the president of Nigeria. Okay, you're going to be a great man. Then you now start causing problems in the community. Right? You will cry. You will cry. Because I know it's the last coming. Alright? So, we have literary allusion. This play alludes to William Shakespeare's Macbeth. So note that. That's where we have literary allusion. And apart from the other, there's a portion of it that alludes to Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. I mentioned there in the notes. Then we have foreshadowing. statements and actions that foretell future events in the play. For instance, when Ted Hunter speaks about how bad weather stops the fight between first and second hunter, that was meant to determine who will rule between Uwem and Udoko. Ted Hunter makes a statement that shows that the god do not want either Udoko or Uwem to rule in the land. And that's what actually happened at the end of the play when the two are killed. Then we have rhetorical questions. Example is, must the kingdom be rendered lifeless because a man died? That statement is made by Ted Hunter. Finally, let's just talk about symbolism in the play. Let us talk about the symbolism of the broken pots. The broken pots, if you look at the cover of you see the two broken pots. These two broken pots stand for Prince Ekong and Prince Uwem. So, but if you make it three, then you add Ekong. So there are the broken pots in the play. That's the symbolism of the broken pots. Then, Ghost Udom and Ghost Ukwa share a pot in the play, which is supposed to be a pot of peace. So if the pot is now broken, then you know that that's why we have war in the play. And of course there are other tropes, but because of time, we'll bring this last one in. When we meet again next week, we'll read the play, some portions of the play, and then move on to the next one. So have a very beautiful, beautiful morning.